Welcome to my channel. My name is Naomi and I'm 36 years old and I have 4 kids, 2 of which came from my body and are too young to take care of themselves. The other one is my 17-year-old step chicken and the other is my 17-year-old nephew that I've been raising for almost 2 years. So I have been on TikTok now for over 5 years and recently in November of 2025 moved over to Facebook, basically to diversify. There's so many weird things going on with TikTok that I was afraid that all of my hard work and everything that I'd put into making my content would just magically disappear. Obviously, with it getting shut down, possibly getting banned, eventually getting sold, and if I'm being honest, the app is just not the same anymore. And once I realized that there was a whole freaking amount of people on Facebook that I didn't realize were looking for the kind of content that I create, I was like, you know what? I think it's time to move to YouTube. I'm going to be uploading weekly videos from now on here, and some of the things that would be cool if you guys moved over from TikTok or Facebook is there's going to be exclusive longer form content that you guys aren't going to see on any of the other apps. Now, in the off chance that you're not coming from my other platforms, I'm gonna give you a little introduction to who I am, what I do, and what kind of content you could be looking forward to. So I was actually raised by a multitude of people. My mom left when I was 7, my dad got full custody, but parenting just, I don't want to say wasn't for him, but he struggled with his mental health and he needed help. So I ended up as a teenager moving in with my elderly aunt and uncle who finished raising me all the way. Now, if you know anything about me, it's not a secret. I was literally on a season of a reality TV show on ABC called Claim to Fame. My aunt and uncle are the parents of Molly Ringwald. She is my cousin and I was raised with her parents, and just needed to get that out there. I did actually move in with Molly after graduating high school and realizing I wasn't in a position to do college just yet. See, my aunt had a bad experience with her children and was a little bit too afraid to teach me how to drive. So I had to do that on my own. Not only that, but I focused a lot on my grades and my extracurriculars in high school, so I didn't have any help or any money to get a car. So I decided and was offered the opportunity to move down to Los Angeles and live with my cousin for a while and make money and save money and help out around the house and with the kids. And that was one of the coolest experiences of my life. Molly took me all around the world, showed me things, and had experiences with me that I never would have been able to have otherwise. And I am so grateful for the time that I got to live with her and her husband, Panio, and her children. After I ended up moving out of Molly's, I went back to the Sacramento area for a while and started nannying since I had a lot of child experience, not only with my little cousins, but in other aspects of my life. And I just found I was really good with kids, which led me to end up moving up to Oregon, where a lot of my other family was, to help raise one of my nephews. I ended up getting my first boyfriend, and that's like the end of the story because I am still with him to this day. He is the father of my 2 children and my 17-year-old step chicken, and that is why I now live in Oregon instead of California. There were a lot of times in my youth and also in my adulthood in which we were extremely poor. I was very fortunate to not have to live that way while I lived with my aunt and uncle, and obviously during the time in which I lived with Molly. But back when I was on my own and pregnant with my first child, I ended up losing my job halfway through my pregnancy, finding out that nobody wanted to hire a pregnant woman for the fact that they knew that maternity leave was imminent, and they couldn't say that for legal reasons, but I think we all know why after tens of job interviews and callbacks and me being stupid enough to admit that I was pregnant, why I never got a call back. So the father of my children and I ended up living on a very small income for the first couple years of me being a mother. And that led me to teaching myself how to extreme coupon, which I am very fortunate that I don't have to do anymore, but it did kind of give me a little bit of PTSD because your girl loves to save a dollar. Even though I am making more money now than I have in most of my adult life, I'm still not the type to waste money on things or pay full price when I know I can get it cheaper somewhere else. So that brings me to what kind of content that I do. I do a lot of deal shopping. It's not like a purposeful thing, but I do shop almost exclusively at Safeway. That seems to be unintentional rage bait because I'm finding out that Safeway is extremely expensive in some areas, but where I live, it is actually the cheapest store around. And I do say that in my videos, in which case people want to start fighting about it because they're like, nah-uh. And I'm like, well, where do you live? And they're like, Massachusetts. And I'm like, that's not around me. So when I say the cheapest store around, I'm obviously meaning around me. Massachusetts is nowhere near me. So I show people how I save the most money, where I'm shopping. For a while there, I was doing DoorDash because, like I said in the beginning of the video, I have 2 small children who are too young to take care of themselves. They're 6 and they're 10. And I don't want to make it the responsibility of my 2 teenagers to have to be childcare. Okay? This is one of their last legal years of being a child. And the last thing that they need is to spend all of their free time watching the children that I brought into this world. I also, unfortunately, know what it's like going to a not reputable daycare facility or in-home daycare, as I was abused by childcare providers. And even though I have experienced being a nanny and I know that there are good childcare providers out there, I still don't want strangers watching my children. So I decided, after the fact that we couldn't just live off of my significant other's income alone, that I was going to start DoorDashing while the kids were in school or sometimes on the weekends. I am incredibly thankful that my content has started generating an income to where I don't need to DoorDash anymore. But unfortunately, I have a certain kind of tism and ADHD, or maybe it's just one or the other, I don't know for sure, that I don't like doing nothing. And while creating content is not nothing, you can batch create, spend a few hours one day, and have multiple days of content to post, which means you don't have anything to do the other days. So the fact that I don't have to DoorDash for the summer because my children are not in school, and like I said, I don't have daycare, and I'm not asking the teenagers to do it for me. I am taking the summer off from DoorDashing, but I already know that I will be at least doing it sometimes while the kids are in school come fall, because I don't want to sit home by myself every day not doing anything when I could be doing something else to be making money. And that's just the kind of person that I am. Also, a lot of people like to ask me, like, what type of content do you put out? And I have a hard time explaining that because, to be honest, I guess if I had to put it in some kind of category, I would say lifestyle vlogger, because I don't really think that I have a niche. I don't think that I'm just a mom creator. I don't think that I'm just, a couponer, because I'm not. I literally just film what I'm doing that day. Besides videos like this where I need to explain something, I'm never going to be doing something just for the content. If I'm filming it, it's because I already needed to do it or it was already gonna get done. And I'm like, you know what? This would make a good video. So again, if you're still on the fence of whether or not you want to subscribe to my channel or you'd like to know what you can expect moving forward, I will give you some examples. Okay? I take my 17-year-old step chicken and my 17-year-old nephew grocery shopping once a month. I give them $50. Sometimes my step chicken gets $25 because he lives with me half the month and my nephew lives with me all month. No, it is not favoritism, and no, I do not hate my stepson. I love him just as much as anyone else. And I'm teaching them how to coupon, how to save money, so that hopefully one day when they are out on their own, they are not as clueless as I was, and they know how to make their dollars stretch, they know how to live on a budget, and they know how to get the most for their money. So at least while the boys are willing, yes, willing, I have never, will never force my children to be in videos. I allow my younger 2 to be in some every once in a while. I will admit they do want to be in more, but I don't think that they're old enough to understand what they're putting themselves into. The kinds of weirdos that are on the internet that are predatory or that want to sit there and say really messed up stuff about children. You'd be surprised. But the teenagers, in fact, are almost adults, and therefore I leave the choice up to them. They only make as many videos as they want to be in. I do not pressure them. I do not try to coax them. They want to do their monthly snack haul videos, and we've also made a little bit more content about teaching them to cook, because I figured that was the next step, because yes, other people ask about this, but yes, they do know how to clean and how to do chores. They know how to do yard work. So a lot of the things I'm trying to teach them is more of a financial aspect or things that they do not yet know about having to run their own life. But that is not most of my content. What I just explained is only probably 3 to 4 videos a month, and I upload on the other platforms every single day. I almost never miss a day. It's kind of psychotic, but it's whatever. So like I said, I do weekly grocery hauls, or whenever it is that I do groceries. I do cooking videos when I'm cooking something that's worth showing you, because I'm not going to do a video about putting a pizza in the oven. But if I am making roasted chicken or chicken noodle soup from scratch, or whatever the case may be, I'm gonna take you along with me. I'm also gonna take you along with me to the farmer's market because May through October, it's every Thursday and it is my absolute favorite thing to do. Other times I just tell you about what's going on in our lives. If we're not doing anything, then I'm probably gonna tell you a story. And any or all of these categories may end up ending up on my YouTube. So that is up to you if you want to follow me on other platforms to see the daily updates, or if this is more your style and you want to see the longer form content that will be uploaded starting out weekly. You never know. I may start doing it more if I get used to it. I'm not even used to filming this way yet, so bear with me. Give me a minute. Some other things you need to know is you've probably already noticed, but my voice changes. And no, I'm not doing it on purpose. I don't know if it's mental instability or the fact that I got it from my psychotic mother, who I haven't talked to in 13 years, but I remember growing up and her making baby voices or her voice changing with her mood, and I don't think I can even pinpoint when it started. Some people love it, and other people comment on my videos and say, please stop talking like a baby. And I'm like, well, you know what? No. Because it just comes out. Or I might start talking like a 65-year-old mobster, or a purebred Englishman, or a farmer. It really just depends. I do have a dry and generally sarcastic sense of humor, which comes across to some people, and other people think that I'm mean. And the beautiful thing about content is you don't have to like me. You don't have to watch me. Okay? So if you don't like me, that's fine. There might be other people that do, but this is who I am. Another thing you may want to know about me is I am an introverted extrovert. Do I know what that means? In theory, yes. But in reality, it means that I really need my alone time. I need my space. But I love being around people for a while. I don't trust most people, and I always say that I wish that I can make more friends, but I'm scared of making friends and absolutely trust no one. I have one real life friend. My best friend lives in Salem, and then I have like 4 to 5 friends that I never see, that I've been friends with since I was a teenager, and we talk periodically. But it's funny because it's almost like we can go a year without speaking to one another and then randomly get on the phone and be on the phone for 3 hours, and it's like nothing has happened. So I am kind of a huge loner, though I do have aspirations to be more social. And I did reference this earlier in the video, but I was on a season of a reality TV show, Claim to Fame. It aired on Hulu and ABC, and I did actually make friends with almost everybody that was a part of my cast, and I am still connected to a handful of those people, and we talk all of the time, but I haven't seen them in like almost a year and a half. And even though I've lived in Oregon for going on 15 years, I still get the Californian depression. Yes, I am on vitamin D and B12 or whatever, I don't know. But I live for the summer, okay? From the months of, I guess it's been changing lately actually. So from the months of October until like the beginning of June, it basically rains all of the time, okay? And we have to stay indoors or else be soaking wet and freezing cold. So I live for mid-June to September when my kids go back to school. We go camping, we go to the river, we go to farmers markets, we go to U-Pick farms. We do absolutely everything under the sun that is an activity that will keep me under the sun and not have me sitting in my home, because I have to sit in my home most of the time. I do love the fact that Oregon is cheaper than California, but a large part of me misses California a lot. I actually don't know if that's because most of my family still lives there, but it is what it is. Another thing you may want to know about me is the fact that my children's father does not live with me right now. And some ground rules, because I've said this on other places, so might as well say it here too. Some ground rules. You're not going to hear me talk about my significant other almost ever. In passing, when I started getting big on social media, I had certain people in my life convey to me that they felt extremely uncomfortable with me talking about them, even if I had never talked about them. They just made me aware. They don't want to be a part of my content. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, and that didn't upset me in any way. My brother is one of those people. He is the father to my nephew. My significant other is one of those people. And to be honest, That's completely understandable. Being on social media means putting yourself in a position where you are going to be constantly scrutinized. And not only that, but the people that are scrutinizing you actually feel entitled to treat you like that. They feel like just because you put yourself on the internet, that it's okay for them to call you any slew of lewd and insane names, make accusations and assumptions, which I find fascinating because I was raised to follow the golden rule. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. If I were walking down the street and I saw somebody speaking in a manner in which I found offensive or didn't like, I would think it in my head, God, that person seems like a crazy person, or I probably would never talk to them. I wouldn't walk up to them and say, I hate your face, I hate your voice, and I wish you would go away. So please explain to me why some of these people get in the comments and just think like, you don't need to say every single thing that comes to your head. Okay. And back to the point at hand. Sorry, my ADHD is getting to me. So there are certain people in my life that have very specifically asked me not to talk about them. So you're probably going to have questions like, why does your nephew Addison live with you? Because he does. Because my brother has asked me not to discuss his personal life on my pages, and I am going to respect that. How come you call your significant other your kids' dad? Because he doesn't want to be on my social media, and if ever we were to break up, I don't want to have to deal with all the questions and having to explain myself, because he is in fact my children's father, which is what you're going to hear me referring to him as. And so if we were to break up, you would probably notice me going from calling him my boyfriend to my children's father. But if I already called him my children's father, you wouldn't know the difference, would you? So anyways, right now, for now, my children's father has moved across the country for an amazing job opportunity, which is like kismet, bro, because my social media started taking off and earning me a real income at the exact same time that he was offered a previous position with a company he used to work for here on the West Coast and is now over on the East Coast making way more money than he was at home. No, we will not be relocating over there. No, I'm not picking up my children and moving across the country. And no, I'm not going to retire him just because I'm making money on social media. Social media is not guaranteed. I have had months where I have made almost $10,000 in 1 month. From views alone, I've never gotten a brand deal. And then I have had months where I only made $2,300. My income is not guaranteed. It ebbs and flows with the wind. His income is guaranteed. His income is stability. His income is how we know we're going to be able to pay our bills every month. If I'm making a great income, I'm going to be putting that money in towards debts. I'm going to be putting that money towards savings, a cushion, retirement, things that my children need, things that I wouldn't be able to afford otherwise, experiences, trips, luxuries, you know, and luxury is subjective. I'm not talking about, by the way, you're never going to see me buy a designer bag. My kind of luxury is being able to go to the grocery store and being able to spend whatever I want without having to look at my bank and make sure that I am down to the cent on budget, which, let's be real, is not something I'm super comfortable with. Though I did do a video one time of me spending $1,100 at Costco to celebrate my content monetization and how much money I had been able to accumulate from that after paying off credit cards and putting money into a savings. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I spent $1,100 at Costco and I made over $3,000 that month off of those videos between all the platforms that I am monetized on, because more people than not were hating and not understanding the concept of stocking up on food. Yes, I bought 2 cases of Spam. Does that mean we eat a lot of Spam? No, it means I'm gonna have Spam for like a year. But the internet is wild. So basically, to sum all of this up, hopefully by watching this video, you figure out whether or not you want to follow me. It's probably going to take a few more videos for you to actually see what kind of content I do, for you to figure that out, but I think this was a pretty good introduction. So, with that being said, if you want to follow the journey of a 36-year-old mom to 4 who likes to save money, who is trying to finish getting out of debt, trying to give her kids a great life, and is as down to earth as she possibly can be, who sometimes is funny, but sometimes also might annoy you, then I would love it if you subscribed to my channel. If not, that's also okay. I hope you have a good day.